Well, now that President Trump is vowing full transparency, Americans are demanding answers to all of those chemtrails across our skies. RFK Jr.'s former running mate, Nicole Shanahan, just posted this on social media. Watch.
I was taking the weekend off the internet. I've been surfing this morning and was watching the planes flying overhead, and then I couldn't take it anymore. But that is not a contrail. That looked like it started as a contrail maybe, and now it's turning into a cloud. See how thick that is? You can see this one is a little further behind, and this one's a little bit further behind as well. This one is the one that's been up there longest. This shit has to end. This is ridiculous. It's like an otherwise perfect day.
This has to end, she says. Dane Wigington is the lead researcher and administrator for the website geoengineeringwatch.org. He's executive producer for the groundbreaking climate engineering documentary called The Dimming. I encourage all of you to watch that film. Dane has devoted the last 20 years of his life to constant research on the issue of covert global climate engineering operations, and he joins us now. Dane, welcome back to the show. Great to see you. First of all, I just want to get your sense of where things sit right now. This has been a lifelong fight for you to get answers about this. You've pointed out that these are toxic chemicals being sprayed. You have the film footage of these planes spraying these chemicals into the sky. It's in your documentary. Are you hoping that you were going to see some answers here under this Trump administration?
I was not holding my breath. And thank you, Clayton and Natalie, for your continued attention to this extremely dire issue that the vast majority still have no idea the gravity of. In regard to Nicole, I did interview with her, a 1-hour interview about 2 weeks ago. I'm hoping that gets posted soon. I'm very grateful to her for her attention on this issue. What have we seen since January 20th? We saw on January 21st the most aggressive chemical ice nucleation cloud seeding operations we've seen to date. That was the blizzards in New Orleans, Florida, parts of Texas, along the Gulf Coast. At the same time, there were blizzards there along the U.S. Gulf Coast. We had above freezing temperatures and rain in Alaska, Greenland, Iceland, Siberia, Moscow. Nobody reports on that. So these events, again, blizzards on the Gulf Coast with moisture from the Record Room Gulf of Mexico, this is not nature. It's chemical ice nucleation, cloud seeding. It's engineered winter. And these are patented processes, Clayton and Natalie. It's not nature.
Wow.
Can you just break down what she means? What's a contrail versus a chemtrail? Are they the same thing, or is this vernacular?
No, they're not. What we see is a sprayed particulate dispersion. We're not guessing. Geoengineeringwatch.org and our groundbreaking documentary, The Dimming, over 25 million views on YouTube in spite of draconian social media censorship. We took a National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration flying lab with top scientists in it to altitude, sampled what heavy aircraft were emitting, processed that sample at Rensselaer Polytechnic in New York. That's a world-renowned lab, found exactly what we knew we would find, climate engineering elements starting with aluminum. Again, this is a sprayed particulate dispersion. We have up-close photographs of these aircrafts at geoengineeringwatch.org, nozzles visible, turning dispersions on and off. We have up-close photographs of the retrofit nozzles mounted on the wing pylons aimed into the exhaust jet stream to make this look like, quote, condensation. So, no, we are not seeing condensation. It's a sprayed particulate dispersion. We have film footage of it. End of argument.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that is due to Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to both elect. Those in the gospel, bro, lifting up the standard of Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is a quick, well, I won't say quick lesson, but this is a lesson through the Spirit. Lord's will to be edifying. This is from Redacted. And this guy's basically going to the chemtrails, the contrails, chemtrails, which they're really chemtrails. I wouldn't call them contrails, chemtrails. All right, which is barium oxide, aluminum, heavy metals, basically stuff that we're not supposed to be breathing in, And yet, when you look outside every day, these devils are constantly spraying the skies, and then all of a sudden, you have some crazy storm that takes place a day or two later. Like, prime example, the week of the Passover, I want to say, matter of fact, that Thursday morning, they were spraying heavily, okay? And then towards the night, things cleared up, doing for the Passover. And then I want to say about 11 o'clock at night, they were spraying again, and I assume they was trying to cover up the eclipse. But then the Most High, you know, he made it open up, so we was able to get a good glimpse of the eclipse. But then not even a couple hours later, we got this crazy ass wind, you know, and then it was clear in the morning, and then all of a sudden the clouds came, and you had peripherals of sun in certain places, in certain pockets, but then the clouds came, then it was windy as fuck. Then all of a sudden wildfires kicked out, then tornadoes. Like, we had tornadoes that hit Indiana, parts of Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and on top of that, wildfires in Oklahoma, crazy wind in Texas, and that all come from them cloud seeding, chemtrailing, man. Even though these are disasters that was made from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, but still, you know, man-made disasters, it's still of the Lord, man. Okay, because see, Esau wants to play the Most High. But what I find it funny is that 2 days ago, and just all this week roughly, we was in the, mid-70s, upper 60s. And then come yesterday, we got up to like 65 degrees, and then the temperatures dropped dramatically to the point wind came in. Then all of a sudden, we got snow last night. In certain areas, it was blizzard-like conditions, you know. But when we woke up in the morning, the sun was out. Now it's getting back up into the 60s. So that's not normal, man. All right. And that got a lot to do with Esau's chemtrailing, because I remember going back into 2021, towards the end of the year, I want to say like in December, this when everybody came down with that, you know what, they was spraying heavily. And then I want to say about January of 2022, they came down with illnesses that they couldn't even get rid of, that they're still suffering from to this day, which added insult to injury, because most of those people then took the you know what. But the shit they was spraying and putting in the food, it was like, wow, you know. And this is why this man has to be taken out of power, because this is a wicked man. Okay, like I'm looking outside right now, right? And we clearly had snow last night. Wind was blowing like crazy all yesterday. We had a 30-degree plummet. We went from 65 degrees to like 30 degrees in 4 hours. Then the wind and the snow came. Then we wake up this morning, relatively cool, but now it was a clear day. And I mean, you got some haze out there because, of course, you know, the chemtrailing, but overall, man, Esau's fucking with the weather. And it's surprising that the trees are actually sprouting early this year, you know, because according to the meteorologist report, spring really starts end of February, March 1st. They say to March 1st all the way up until May 31st. And then the summer is from June 1st all the way up until like, June, August, September. Yep. So, because, you know, the seasons are broken up into 3-month increments. You got 3 months of winter, 3 months of spring, 3 months of summer, 3 months of fall, right? So roughly in realism, the summer really starts January 1st. I mean, not January, but June the 1st. Then it leads up to June, July, August, September. September 1st is really when the fall kicks in, because you start getting those fall-like temperatures. And then the fall kicks in from September, October, November. Then usually around November 1st, that's when the winter kicks in. December, January, February, you know, and then to the end of March the 1st. So that's really how they really break the seasons up. So all that other June 21st to this and that, that's not, I mean, that's a little off, but, you know, it's safe to say we've been in the spring season since the beginning of March, roughly the end of February, you know. But anyway, I got a video on TikTok I wanted to play. It says, I can't handle tornadoes, but now we have firestorms in Oklahoma. And that's funny because I did a lesson, I want to believe Friday evening during the night of during the first night of the Passover, going into the second night. And I did a lesson on it. Kansas City seemed like it was on fire. I mean, we went outside, it was smoke. It was cloudy. It was like a red, dusty haze. You could smell the smoke. And all of a sudden, by 11 o'clock that night, no smell of smoke. Woke up in the morning, though we had overcast, but it was like a clear day. You know how like you have a clear day, but you have overcast? And that's just what it was. And I'm like, wait a minute, that shit don't even sound normal. Because Esau was doing something, man. All right?
do not want to be on the road when weather like this hit.
Last weekend's deadly.
Texas highways turned into chaos zones as extreme winds whipped up dust and even flipped trucks. Blinding dust storms like this swept across parts of New Mexico, Texas, and Oklahoma, cutting visibility to nearly nothing. One monster wind gust hit a staggering 85 miles per hour, strong enough to send debris flying and make driving nearly impossible. In Amarillo, officials had no choice but to shut down parts of the interstate to prevent disaster in the brutal conditions.
Last weekend's deadly storm system is still wreaking havoc. New evacuations have been ordered in one county north of Oklahoma City from a wildfire that the storm helped spread with high winds.
20 million plus people are under fire weather warnings here today. We have an extreme risk of fire danger across West Texas and parts of Oklahoma thanks to these wind gusts generated by a very strong spring storm that's going to move out of the Rockies and into the plains today. Take a look at these wind gusts. Forecast gusts in West Texas up to 60 plus miles per hour today. Oklahoma as well. That storm then spreads north and east, taking the wind threat with it. Let's take a look at that fire risk here today from the Storm Prediction Center across portions of West Texas and into Oklahoma. It is an extreme fire danger risk. You can see cities like Odessa, Texas, pretty much right in the middle of that red area, indicating where the worst of the fire conditions will be. This storm is also producing possible blizzard conditions as it moves into the northern and central plains. We're going to be looking at heavy snow, wind-blown snow, and we could see snow rates up to 1 to 2 feet, again, with those near whiteout conditions.
Are you ready to win real? Last weekend.
You do.
And that comes from all the chemtrailing that they're doing. When they're spraying the skies that heavy, they're creating what they call an atmospheric corrosion of some degree. To some, I forgot what they call it. It's a scientific term. But yet they're causing all this type of cosmic activity in the atmosphere, and it's drawing moisture, heat, dry air, cold air, and it's all just spinning shit out of whack, man. You know, this is why you don't have any normal seasons anymore. Like, if Esau stopped chemtrailing, we wouldn't even have any seasons because everything is so jacked up, because he's totally jacked up the earth, because he's not allowing the earth to re-get his balance back. And this is why he has to be taken out of power, man. You know, because you got towns in Alabama literally being wiped off the map through tornadoes. And I think a lot of this shit is being done to set up these 15-minute smart cities, man. And that's just my opinion, but that seemed to be the new thing out, you know. But that's part of Esau's sword, because the scriptures say that he was going to rule with the sword. All right, so this is the book of Genesis 27, and I'm going to start at verses 20. No, let's start at verses 34. It says, and when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceedingly bitter cry and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety and have taken away thy blessing. Because the kingdom or the blessing falls upon the oldest son. You know, he gets the main birthright, the oldest son, which Esau is older than Jacob. And it says here, and he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? It says, for he have supplanted me these 2 times, and he have taken away my birthright. And behold, now he taken away my blessing. It says, and he said, hast thou not reserved the blessing for me? So Esau was weeping for a blessing, and this is what the Lord gave him, because Isaac is Yahushai. Okay, which all goes back full spectrum. Everything is cold how the story plays out. But it says, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I've made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I have given him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. But what should I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? It says, bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. So he cried like a bitch, basically, which the blessing didn't belong to him anyway. And it says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling should be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live and shall serve thy brother. Okay, and the key word is the sword, because even going back into the line of Cain, which Esau is direct descendant of Cain, basically they was men skilled in weaponry, you know, artificers and men that was good with, with metals and steels and making certain weapons. That's basically what Esau was, okay? But when you go into the word weapon or sword, it goes into harab, which means a sword, a knife, tools for cutting stone, which was Esau's blessing, okay? And it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob. And you got to understand, too, the reason why Esau was taking out this wrath on the planet Earth is because he's taking out his bitterness against Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, and also us, because he knows that we have dominion of the planet, or we will have dominion of the planet in the universe. So in his mindset, he's playing some, well, you know what? If I can't have it, y'all can't have it either. So I'm going to fuck it up as much as possible. So therefore, when it comes for you to rule, you ain't going to have any authority or any type of balance with it. But he don't understand that the Most High is going to restore all things unto new. So he's basically throwing a pussy fit because he got supplanted of his birthright. So he's basically pissing the Most High out by fucking up the earth. Okay, like I said, it's a surprise thing that the trees are even sprouting. Okay, I remember as a kid, trees started sprouting depending on the severity of the winters. I say trees would start sprouting like mid-March, sometimes late April. Sometimes trees didn't sprout damn near to May, depending on how unbalanced the seasons is. But trees are roughly sprouting at the right time. But when you pay attention to it, trees are dying because basically what's happening is that they're being suffocated through these metals and this barium oxide. This is why the greenery is not as green anymore. It's more like a dull green tint, because basically trees are living organisms, right? And ultimately they're not being they're not breathing. Okay, he's killing life with this cloud seeding, man. That's why the trees are dying off. They're not fucking breathing. And on top of that, he's cutting shit down. Like, I believe 98% of the trees in America are male trees, because if he left female trees up, then the trees will bear fruit. That way we can eat off the land. But instead, he wants to capitalize on everything through corporate greed, because this man is such a goddamn fucking devil, man. And I can't honestly wait to put this man in slavery, bro. For real, because the Lord has got to get rid of this dude, man. This dude is completely out of his damn mind. Like, what the fuck did the trees do to you, my nigga? You cut down trees to justify building a fucking Starbucks. Nobody want no goddamn Starbucks, man. It's like, it's when you think about it, it really pisses you off, because the earth is a beautiful planet. But we don't even have natural blue skies because he sprayed so much shit in the air. Like, on my forecast, it's a clear day, but I'm looking in the sky and it's clearly haze in the horizon because he's been spraying and chemtrailing, man. And their forecast models is based on what they're spraying in the air. So if you see cloud cover for this weekend, just be sure to check the air or check the skies for planes tonight and see if they're going to be chemtrailing, man. All right. So this is the book of Job 9:24. It says here, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? All right. And that's this damn Edomite. He has to be taken out of power. He's totally he's just not fit for rulership, bro. So anyway, let's play.
Dan, you've been doing
contrails. She's talking condensation. That would otherwise be natural, and she says this is not natural. I get it now. I'm sorry.
Correct.
Go ahead. Okay.
So where are we then with this? We have so many people in our chat room that are just sick of this. They're sick of looking up into their skies. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, Dane. You've devoted your life to this. They're sick of seeing this. We have so many viewers who've written to us saying how sick they've become as a result of it. Can you talk about what sort of effect this is having on human beings? What is it having? This effect is having on our bodies? And then who the hell is doing this?
It's affecting virtually every living thing. Primary element in climate engineering operations and patents, aluminum nanoparticles. Bioavailable aluminum is toxic to all life forms, period. No exceptions.
And that's why the soil is tainted. So even if you are gardening, which, that's always a good alternative, the soil is being tainted. So either way it go, you're eating poison. Like, I challenge all you brothers to go get a real blood test, or go get your hair sample, or take it to like a lab and let them cut Let them take some of your. I think they take it from the pubes or the underarms, if I'm not mistaken. But they'll do a test when you got to take like a certain percentage of your pubes, and they will test your hairs to see how much metals you have in it. And I guarantee you, most of us are suffering from cadmium, okay, fucking barium oxide, metals. You know what I'm saying? All types of stuff that don't belong in the bloodstream. You know, zinc and copper is good for the blood, but when you have things like barium and cadmium and all that other shit, you know, like the stuff they spray on the aluminum pans, when you eat off that stuff, it goes into the bloodstream. So you wonder why you have all types of health issues, because your kidneys can't possibly filter out all these metals. And then you got the forever plastics that they're putting in the food. It's like you just one big conduit, man. And he's constantly bombarding us with this poison.
All sucking this stuff in with every breath we take. Clayton and Natalie, do you remember all the reports of the
fucking gastritis, your rod don't work, goddamn digestive issues? It come from the fucking chemtrails, man. Allergies. Like, I've had something stuck in the crevice of my nose going on fucking 6-7 years. I still can't breathe out of my right nostril completely, man, because so much shit is just down in the crevice of your nose. You know what I'm saying? That can't even get through the nostril so you can blow it out. You know, I use the saline packets and the water shit, you know, and that cleans it out, but I can't seem to get what's stuck, you know, on the right side of what they call it's called your turbinates. I think my shit is kind of crooked or broken because all the pollutants, man. So I have to physically get surgery on the right side of my nostrils if I want to clear everything out. And even then they was like, we may not even be able to fully fix it. I'm just like, what the fuck, man? So we're totally destroyed, man. And then allergies. And just like, this man is totally the devil, man. All right. Matter of fact, let's go here to the book of Isaiah 14. And let's start at verses 3. And it says, and it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. And this is a very hard bondage, man. And it says, and thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. And that golden city is America, man. All right. And it says here, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepters of the rulers, and he who smote the people in wrath with the continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindered. And this is not talking about some spiritual demon Satan. Okay, this is talking about his physical counterpart, Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, this is what he do. For those of you out there that thought that this passage was talking about when it goes into Lucifer, Lucifer just goes into light bearer, which means higher law in the Hebrew. You know, and it says here, he that ruleth the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth, but the whole earth is at rest and is quiet, and they break forth into singing. And yea, since the fir tree rejoiceth thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow has come up against us. So nature itself is going to rejoice when its cancer is taken out of the earth for good. Okay, from him, his fucking woman, his child, all them damn devils, man. Okay. And we really talking about all of you, but the ones in power is the ones that's pulling the strings. The common Edomite is even suffering from what the hell the elites are doing. But you people just got to go, man. And that's just what it is. You have to go. All right. No ifs, ands, or buts. We don't give a fuck if you are advocating for change. Y'all got to go, man. All right. We've had enough of you. The earth have had enough of you. Nature has had enough of you. Okay. Life itself has had enough of you. Okay, we ready to fucking go. The trees are, I'm looking in my backyard and the trees are literally suffering, man. Beautiful trees, man, that they had to come and cut down. You know, a place that make the earth look like paradise, man. What would the earth be without trees? And if he had his way, he'll cut it all down. Going back into 2020 when he burnt down the damn Amazon, I think he burnt down, they called it the lungs of the earth. You notice when he burnt all that stuff down, that's when a lot of this fucking climate change bullshit started coming into hand. Which ain't no such thing as climate change. That shit is man-made, man. You know, Antarctica melting, glaciers falling off. That's all Esau doing, man.
And it's ongoing, in fact. The fog and people getting sick in the fog. You guys probably saw that.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Pennsylvania during the atomic bomb, or even further? Or you're talking about recently?
Oh, this is right now. This is this is in recent months. I mean, we have extraordinary amounts of fog blanketing 10, 12 states at a time. Again, this is a result of chemical ice nucleation operations as well, because when you're creating a cold, dense, chemically induced layer of air at the surface, you're going to expand any kind of fog layer that's there, and that's exactly what's happening. It isn't just fog in this fog, and people are getting sick, and that's not their imagination. Again, we're testing precipitation, so we know that we have aluminum, barium, strontium, manganese, polymer fibers, surfactants, graphene. All of that is in our rain, which means it's in our breathable air column. Those are all climate engineering elements. And Clayton and Natalie, have you seen how many massive 100-car pileups we have now every time there's a frozen precipitation event? You guys noted that?
I haven't been, I mean, I see, postings on X, and I haven't accounted for them, the quantity. So you're saying the quantity of these pileups has skyrocketed as a result?
Yes, as has massive hail events. Now we have hail that's baseball and softball size all the time, destroying cars, solar fields. So on this slick material, surfactants are used in this mix. They're in the patents. And the stated purpose is to keep these particles from coagulating together and descending more rapidly. Surfactants are what makes soap soap. So now we have what amounts to soap-soaked snow. It's unimaginably slick. And anybody who's grown up in snow knows the difference in composition in this super slick, what amounts to soap-soaked snow. So again, they're not only making the frozen precipitation, all precipitation, toxic, but now there's many other dangers that come with that. And there's so much contamination in the rain. It's changing soil pH values. In our case, in Northern California, and I have the USDA baselines from the 40s. I'm not guessing. Got that from a contact at USDA. So much toxic material is coming down in our rain that it has escalated soil pH values here in Northern California 10 to 12 times toward alkaline. Nothing is growing here. Soils are completely sterilized. There's no decomposition on the forest floor, and we're breathing all that.
So we have people in our chat room saying, let's see, Philly Vortex says here, coating on the cars. I have someone else from Fresno saying, Fresno used to be the breadbasket of California, no longer the case. Soils being destroyed.
Right.
So,
after watching your last bit on Redacted, I don't let my daughter eat the snow.
Yeah, and we all used to do that as kids. We'd go out there and we'd eat the snow. Like, I used to eat the snow off my windowsill. Probably wasn't the best thing to do, but... as kids, we did a lot of crazy, bugged out shit. But this man, he just got to go. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Enough is enough. I don't know how to put it into any more layman's terms than that. I'm looking at Amos. Hold on, I got lost in my I got lost in thought right there. Habakkuk 2. Habakkuk 2 and 3, it says, "For yet the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." And at the end of the day, it's prophecy. And it has to be this way because it's prophetic. You know what I'm saying? This is the scriptures. And the Lord said that these plagues, they're nothing but plagues, okay? Even though Esau is using physical means, but the supernatural is clearly at hand behind the curtain. Okay, the Most High is the wizard behind the curtain that's pulling all the strings, whether you like that or not. And it says, "Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." So, we got the spirit of the Lord on our side, because if not, we'll be destroyed. We'll be dead. Okay, like it tells us in the book of Matthew. Also, when you go into the book of Ezekiel, it says that he set himself up as the Most High. So he's playing the role of a higher power, because he wants to be the Most High, like that devil Yuval Noah Harari, or Noah Yuval Harari. He basically stated that we don't need the concept of a God because we have all the technology we need in a roundabout way. That's what he was mentioning, Hold on, let me find this real quick. Matter of fact, let's go Matthew 24. And this is why Yahweh Shai has to come back and get us from this, man. All right, this is the book of Matthew 24. And I'm going to start at verses 21, and it says, "For there should be greater anguish than at any time since the world began, and it will never be so great again. In fact, unless that the time of calamity is shortened, not a single person will survive. but it will be shortened for the sake of God's chosen ones, which is the elect. So that's why time is speeding up, man. This is why we're damn near at the end of March. Like, March just started 2 days ago, and we are already on the 18th of March, I believe, 18th or 19th. One of them dates, shit. We may be on the 21st. Who knows? But regardless of it, you know, the Lord is speeding time up because he's getting ready to get this nigga out of here. All right? This shit show of a fucking kingdom, of a fucking life has to go. You know, because it tells us, hold on, poison. Not poison. Poison. Hurt thee. Hold on. Hurt. Damn. I'm trying to quote that scripture. Damn. That's how I need to get some more rest. I can't even, I'm having a brain fart right now. Damn. Yeah, watch my child. You bring it to me. Yep. Mark 16 and 18. And it says here, they should take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it should not hurt them, and they should lay hands on the sick, and they should recover, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're eating poison and chemicals and all these other things, man. You know, we eating poison. We're breathing poison, but we're still here. You know, because it's all through the mercies of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai at the end of the day. All right. This is the book of Ezekiel 28, and I'm going to start at verses 2. It says, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus says the Lord Yahweh, because thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a power, and I sit in the seat of the Most High in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man and not Yahweh, though thou set thy heart as a heart of the Most High. Okay, so he's basically playing God. Okay, it says, because thou art wiser than Daniel, there is no secret what they can hide from thee, but with thy wisdom and with thy understanding thou hast gotten riches. Thou hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures, and with by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, which that traffic goes into maritime law. Okay, it says, hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. All right, so he's able to accomplish all these wicked deeds because for the simple fact he has the power in his hand to do so. Okay, he has the valuable resources to cloud seed and to fund these multi-billion-dollar programs to weaponize the weather. Because really is nothing much but everything has been weaponized, from the water you drink, the air you breathe, the woman you deal with, the jobs you work, the food you eat. Everything has been totally weaponized against us, man. Okay, and it all goes back into them wanting to wipe out the children of Israel. Okay, he's clearly going scorch earth, meaning that he don't give a fuck about collateral damage. He don't care. He'll destroy this whole goddamn earth to get us. You know, and once I thought about it, this whole plan, this whole 100 House of America has been set up and conditioned through working and slavery, all to get Jake to accept the MOTB. They pushed you into a society of convenience, okay, to the point that you can't, to the point you can't have autonomy, to the point that they've gotten people all roused up under this working convenience just to push them into getting a chip when they take things away from them, because they've made you totally dependent. This is a society that's dwelt on dependent of the government. It's not an independent society. You're totally dependent on the system, and they've gotten you so comfortable to the point when they cut the power off, you're going to be begging for them to bring in a new system. And that's what it's always been about. All right. But this is the book of Psalms 83 and 2. It says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. And they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. And they have said, come and let us cut them off for being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And it's all about getting the children of Israel, man. You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And it says, for they have consulted together with one consent, and they are the confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, the Ishmaelites of Moab, the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, and the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. And also, Ashur also is joined with them, and they have hope in the children of Lot, man. okay? Which the Moabites, the Ammonites, you see? So this whole system has been set up to come against us, man. And they would do whatever they can to make sure that we dead, they take us out, because it's all about the birthright. Okay, Revelation 6 and 7. It says, and when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. And I looked and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell was followed him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth, man. All right. You go into the second seal, he's declared war on the people. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. All right. So when we go to, let's go here real quick. Let's go to Bible comparisons, cross-reference. Revelation 12 and 3. Zechariah, Revelation. Perfect. Psalm 17 and 13. It says, arise, O Lord, and disappoint him. Cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Yep. And through this harp shit, that's all the sword, man. Isaiah 10:5 and 6. O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, and the staff in their hand is my indignation, and I will send him against a hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him charge, to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Okay? So I'm going to end it here, brothers, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you were edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.
Observers were treated to a special celestial event as a total lunar eclipse took over the night sky. The eclipse was visible across Canada and the U.S. late last night into early this morning, with the Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles capturing a clear look at the so-called blood moon. A total lunar eclipse occurs when the sun, earth, and moon align in space, with Earth in the middle, leading it to cast a reddish shadow on the moon. The eclipse could be seen across most of North and South America, as well as parts of Africa, Europe, Australia, Russia, and Japan.
Violent tornadoes spawned from an enormous storm system touched down in at least 7 states Friday night into Saturday.
Oh my God!
Near St. Louis, Missouri, the storms arrived in the dark, illuminated by lightning strikes.
I had glass flying everywhere into my face and my arms and everything.
Dan Lundstrom took cover inside the cab of his tractor trailer in this community west of St. Louis. His truck slammed by another truck, pushed over by the high winds. He watched as the twister blew apart a nearby gas station and restaurant.
And there was tons of people up in the store that were just running around crying and screaming, and it was pretty scary.
Families in a nearby neighborhood ran for their basements. Joy Asdu and her children came back upstairs to find the entire second floor of their home gone.
I thought that we were gonna die. My kids was crying. I was just trying to cover their heads, and
could you, when you're down in the basement,
we couldn't see anything. We didn't know what was happening.
The fast-moving storm caused blizzard conditions near Flagstaff, Arizona, resulting in this deadly 18-vehicle pileup. When the storm reached West Texas, it kicked up dust, leading to a deadly multi-vehicle crash. Winds sparked and then supercharged dozens of wildfires in several states. Homes burned to the ground in Texas and Oklahoma.
The front side and the back side of this neighborhood totally burned, and just so thankful that we didn't have any fatalities here.
In the northern plains, the storm is expected to drop up to a foot of snow.
There were no deaths in this community, but some of the people I talked to here had no insurance. Jason Allen, CBS News in Villa Ridge, Missouri.
Tonight, with what authorities are warning is a life-threatening storm sweeping across several states tonight. There are tornado watches just issued. 120 million Americans in 20 states on alert from the south to the Midwest and the Northeast. Tornadoes and damaging winds with these storms up to 100 miles per hour. Tonight, they're expecting fierce winds and possible long-track tornadoes across the South and Midwest. And tomorrow, this continues. The highest level of severe tornado risk in the Deep South. And by Sunday, the severe storms hit the east. Already tonight, winds in Texas, look at this, up to 70 miles an hour, triggering blinding dust storms and fueling a fire in Lake Tanglewood. A family escaping a fire in Allen Reed, Texas, flames out the window and traffic backed up on the highway. 18-wheelers no match for the winds in Amarillo, Texas, toppling over north of Interstate 40. South of there, the dust storms blinding drivers, triggering a multi-vehicle crash on Interstate 27. This could be a very dangerous night ahead, and the potential for long-track tornadoes tomorrow and straight-line winds. Lee Goldberg has the forecast, and Matt Rivers leading us off in St. Louis at this hour, where they're under a tornado watch right now.
Tonight, wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour, fueling out-of-control fires, walls of dust blinding drivers, and sending trucks flying in the Texas Panhandle.
There it goes. There goes another one.
Multiple 18-wheelers north of Interstate 40 in Amarillo falling like dominoes. Watch this man, along with a police officer, race to detach the trailer and save the front end of the truck.
Trying to put the jacks down so they can unhook and let it flip over without the truck on it. Smart.
It was no match for the wind.
There it goes.
Storm chaser Kirk Michelson on the scene of a horrific crash on Interstate 27 south of Amarillo, guiding victims to safety in his truck.
We made it!
Grass fires forcing families to evacuate the tiny town of Allen Reed.
Everybody go to the city of Allen Reed, please. City of Allen Reed. I'm hearing it's about to burn down. I need to get units there. I want eyes on.
Fire jumped.
Flames exploding in Lake Tanglewood. Raging flames incinerating multiple homes. The winds marking the beginning of a potent, multi-day severe weather outbreak that has more than half the country in its sights.
There is a heightened sense of alertness about this today. Yeah, we always take it seriously, but today there's kind of an additional push on it.
Missouri's governor declaring a state of emergency, St. Louis and its nearly 300,000 residents right in the crosshairs tonight. And David, tonight right here in downtown St. Louis, we are under a tornado watch through the rest of the evening.
All right, man, I'll see you around.